Ganesh, outline for us really what sort of companies have already communicated price increases. Are we seeing perhaps a pattern here in terms of what companies are already passing on those costs?
Thanks for having me this morning. Now, yes, ever since President Donald Trump decided to impose tariffs on the whole world, chief executives have come under pressure to explain to investors how they're going to be protecting their profit margins. Now, I've been listening to calls that chief executives have had with analysts and other investors, and companies like Safran, for example, it's a jet engine maker listed in Paris. They've been vocal about the fact that they're going to be raising prices for goods that's been imported into the United States. Here's what their CEO told investors. At the end of the day, this tariff situation is creating inflation, so be it. We're going to impose tariff surcharge to our customers, and we won't be shy. Now, clearly, Safran's customers are airlines. They're not, consumers in the sense they don't have a direct-to-consumer business. So they've been more vocal, but it's not just Safran. Companies like LVMH and Kering, for example, luxury goods makers, over the past few years have demonstrated they've got immense pricing power. They've raised prices during the inflation of 2022 and 2023. So companies like Kering have come out and said they're going to be raising prices for goods not just being imported in the United States, but globally, because they don't want to give their highly mobile customers the impression that they could get their goods cheaper elsewhere.
Right.
So these companies have demonstrated such pricing power.
And of course, that's very important when you think about how the luxury sector works overall, right? Even if you try to buy one of their items at the airport, you don't usually have the tax-free purchase, right? Or the duty-free purchase. I would like to get also more color on what other companies are saying, because it seems that this is more, government contracts and luxury consumers. But what about the normal consumer, let's say?
It's been surprising. I'll give you another example. Electrolux, this is a white goods company. The first thing that will come into people's mind is, hang on a second, how does a company that makes washing machines have pricing power? But if, in fact, it turns out all of its competitors are facing a very similar situation where goods are being imported from places like Turkey or China. So Electrolux, even though they manufacture a big chunk of their sales that are being made in the United States, they're raising prices. The same is the case with a company in Sweden called Thule Group. They're more famous for making carrier containers that's usually mounted on top of cars. This company makes more than half of the goods that they sell into the United States in the United States, yet they're raising prices because their raw materials, steel and aluminium, there's tariffs on them, prices have gone up.
Very clear. It seems that, to sum it all up, that there are already consequences from the trade policy from the White House. Let's see whether some of these could be reversed if there is a trade agreement by the end of the 90 days. But of course, so far, we only have heard from one trade agreement, and we don't know with which country.